All we have to have is markers that are fresh. Thank you. So anyway, so Rick has opened up my world to a whole different universe. And to a great degree, I have to say that most of the trouble that I've had in the last 10 years has been ever since I met him. Up until then, I was fairly off the radar, enjoyed myself, went to conferences and spoke. Then he gets me all traumatized, listening to Mark Nuttall. I'm convinced, and I start getting everyone else convinced, the imminent economic collapse of the West. And I still believe in it, and I'm holding on for it to happen. But Mark and I became great friends, and he continued to tutor me on economics and Milton Friedman and education and all this stuff. And then Jerry Boykin alerted me to the imminent threat of Islam and terrorism. I just want to say, between Islam and financial meltdown, the spirit of peace was multiplying on me. Then he introduced me to more friends of his, who I don't have the discretion not to listen to, and I'm absorbing everything I'm listening to. And these are brilliant and gifted people. So then Jim Baker. Then he said, listen, Jim Baker's a prophet. Jim Baker's great. And it's so nice to be able to meet Jim Baker. So, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I get this coin sent to me from the Sanhedrin. And it's a Trump-Cyrus coin. Now this is kind of interesting. When the Sanhedrin is sending you money, you know something's up. This isn't my tribe. This is not normal behavior. So I'm getting a coin from the Sanhedrin, and it's Donald Trump and Cyrus on one side, and the third temple, which I'm assuming is being built by the Antichrist. I don't have my theology yet on that, but they're all excited about it, and I'm excited about it, from what I know. And so I'm looking at this coin, and Sid Roth and Mike Evans and all these guys with big Jewish beards said, boy, if it was me, if I was the guy that had that prophecy on Donald Trump being Cyrus, if I was that guy, after Netanyahu twice goes to the White House and calls him Cyrus, I'd be doing a heck of a lot more than you're doing with it. I said, you're right. But I like working through those connections that Rick gives me. So here I am with Jim Baker. I said, Jim, I got this idea. We've got this coin, a Sanhedrin coin, 24 karat, gold plate. I'm going to put in gold because it's going to be like Donald Trump would never go with this silver stuff. It's got to be gold. So I want to teach on what's happening now, and I'm calling it the stalled Reformation. I could be giving it a more optimistic title, but in keeping with MorningStar, I want to keep us on the edge of tribulation. So I said to Jim, so I don't know how we're going to do, because Jim has to fund this ministry, and I always feel bad, it's like he'll lean over to, I probably shouldn't tell this, but he's a friend, if someone comes on with a book, because books really don't help a lot. I got a book. Like, I gotta sell generators, I gotta sell feeding troughs, I gotta sell solar units here, I gotta do something to pay for this massive TV budget. A book, I have to sell a dozen, a baker's dozen we call it. I go, wait, all I got right now is a book. But the book happened to have been predicting, Donald Trump as God's chaos candidate. It's just the problem was it was a month before the election. No, it was 3 weeks before the election when I was on the show, and the thing was selling like hotcakes. He said Jonathan Cahn's book, The Harbinger, it didn't have as many sales. We got the phones are melting down. Blake, you got to get the printing press going. You got to get it going. We got this save America, which is what I love about all of MorningStar's friends. We're all equally anxious and traumatized at the same time. And I'm saying, I don't know, God is going to read on the book like this. I was just being obedient. This could make the difference in the election. We could have blown it because we didn't have enough books. Anyway, we got 90,000 books. Is a lot of, but we sold books. So when this next time came around with the Cyrus coin, I said, this time I'm going to do it right. I'm going to have the coin ready. Because I want to be there for the opportunity, for the opportune moment. Maybe we'll sell, I don't know, 1,000 or something. And it's good for Jim because that way, it's not like a book. It's like, I got a whole hour of training and teaching, which I'm going to condense for you in 15 minutes. You get the 15 minutes version. You won't understand a thing I'm saying, but you'll get it in 15 minutes. already they're cleaning up out there. This is the most optimistic reception you can have at this meeting. Anyway, when they wheel this off and they take my microphone, then we know I'm in trouble. So anyway, so I said, Jim, I'm going to have a manual I'm going to do. I'm going to do a special 1-hour training. We're going to have the Trump-Cyrus coin. You're going to be able to, it's like only $45, but you'll be able to, at least it is in a margin with a book. You'll be able to, who knows, we'll sell 1,000, 2,000, who knows what. Anyway, I do this thing, and we're getting carried away. We're talking about, which I'm going to show you in a second. What's going on with America? What's happened to biblical pattern? We're actually locked in a biblical pattern. The pattern is right there, only in this case, it's right in front of us. It's unfolding like a stair step right in front of us. And Jim and I were so lost in it, we almost forgot about the coin. So I grabbed the coin. And all I can remember is, this is unfortunate. But I remember, like I said, people got to pray. And we're going to pray, by the way, Franklin Graham and Paula White. And I'm getting texts. Everybody's saying, pray the second. You guys know this, right? So tomorrow we're going to pray. We're going to have to storm the gates of heaven and break down the gates of hell, because this bizarre conspiracy of the left is like so recalcitrant. It's the inmates who try to take over the prison. We got to block it. So anyway, so I said we're going to have this prayer. And I remember Oral Roberts. Remember Oral Roberts would call it a point of contact. I don't know why this is such risque theology. Was I the only guy that was listening to Kenneth Hagin or Oral Roberts 30 years ago? Here's what he said. He said that, there's a point of contact where you have, like, there's a place where your faith needs a trigger to release it. So, for instance, with an offering, there's times when you hold up the offering, and that's your point of contact. You release your faith, with the offering. Or you might have, like Catherine Coleman used to always, she'd be prancing around backstage, and she was frail and nervous, and she'd, praying, oh, Holy Spirit, help me. And because when you go out with a miracle ministry, if you're a teacher, you can fake it. If you're a prophet, you can blow it. Nobody knows it. You get, I hear this is the date, this is the name. Is it over there somewhere? Yes, it is, of course. And nobody knows. But when you got somebody on a platform who's, either got a miracle or not. Anyway, so she can't fake the miracles, and so she's like all anxious. She goes, oh my God, don't take her spirit from me. But she knew this when she hit that platform, which is why she runs so fast from the corner backstage. She'd be like, oh, real fast, What a trip, she had that dress on. And then boom, she landed. And then boom, she was like that. And so different people would have points where they would release their faith or a point of contact. It's a very simple idea. It's like if I may touch the hem of his garment, boom, a point of contact. Anyway, doesn't matter what you say, the devil doesn't like it. I grab the coin, I go, hey, don't forget, this coin right here. Every time we grab this coin, remember to pray for the President of the United States. This Cyrus Trump, this person is a historic individual standing literally in the fulfillment of a chapter of American history to stop the enemy. And every time you take this coin, remember, there's about 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, who knows how many of us we're all. When you have that coin, hold it and pray and release your faith to cover this man's head and his mind and his body, his emotions, his soul, and his family. It's a point of contact. Well, next thing you know, I'm doing this conference, San Diego, just a few days ago. And when I'm there, my staff is always like bringing up the wrong information at the wrong time. Do you have people like this in your life? There's kind of like an impish glee they have. Oh, did you hear what they said? It's like I'm about to go on, I got a camera crew go, what? Did you hear? Don't tell him now. What? Don't tell me what? Don't tell me what? Oh, it's okay. What do you mean it's okay? Evidently, Jimmy Fallon had you on last night making fun of your point of contact. Jimmy Fallon? So the latest... Evidently, they counted that offering and you guys didn't do what you're supposed to do. I'm probably getting a text message, keep talking until they fess up. Nobody's getting out of here, people. 2 weeks earlier, it was Bill Maher's making fun of me. Bill Maher. Jimmy Fallon. Finally, we're getting to the brains of the Democratic Party. We've been trying to get a message. strategy behind the show all along. So guess where I'm going tomorrow? Yeah, Monday. So I got to fly out here. I'm going Monday. I said, that's it. I'm fed up with this. I've been traumatized for many years now. It's time to share the energy. And so I called the meeting. I got a meeting. I got a hold. And you'll never guess what I said. We're going to go on TV. We're going to have a show. And it's going to be a different kind of show. It's going to be different. But given the fact that the left is marshaling its resources and they're sending out the comedians as the front line. Years ago, I remember saying this. I remember saying this as surely as I'm standing here right now. I just came. As a matter of fact, it was a meeting, and it was Cindy Jacobs, who was just here last night. It was Jerry Boykin. It was Mark Knowler, and I was late to a meeting. And all I can remember is I got there probably right after some traumatizing update on Islam and the economics of this and the condition of the church and whatever else. And I came in there and walked into the vortex. And I can remember I was late. I was a little embarrassed, but it's the weirdest thing. So it's like it was an earnest and it was a beautiful moment because I respect these people so highly. And they kind of turn their head and they go, "Well, Lance, what do we do?" I look back at them and I'll never forget what came out of my mouth. It was totally prophetic. I said, "Unleash the comedians." And it was just that kind of neurological shock that jolts you out of your momentary thought pattern. It's like, what? I said, yes, I think we need to unleash the comedians. I think that we have preachers and teachers and prophets, and they're ignoring all of them. Remember what Jesus said? He said, you know, John the Baptist came, he was all serious, he listened to him, I come along, and he accused me and my posse here being a bunch of wine bibbers. So, all right, so I can't win. We can't win for losing with you people. In other words, we might as well just go in an opposite direction and start making fun of them. Because they are hilarious, if you think about it. There's a certain amount of entertainment that's in all insanity. And they have so much of it that it actually is kind of entertaining. So I'm reverse traumatizing myself and I'm working on a book. It's good. I'm thinking of the title now. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's going to be, laughing your way through the tribulation or something like that. I don't know. It'll be catchy, trust me. But the kingdom of God is righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. They can't take that from you no matter who's in political office. The church had it during the days of Diocletian and Nero. They can certainly have it in the days of Nancy Pelosi. So anyway, Monday, I'm doing a keynote. Did you know this group even existed? The Christian Comedy Association of America. I didn't know they existed. I'm delivering the keynote on Monday, and I'm calling them all out. Now you think about this. Those of you that are old enough and carnal enough to remember. Do you remember? I'm going to talk about Mel Brooks, Woody Allen, Sid Caesar, all the way back to Lenny Bruce, Mort Saul. Jewish people have for ages been the essence of comedy. Don Rickles. It's always been that comedians have had a handle on the irony of life, that one perspective that you could get away with saying, and the Jewish comedians could do it. So I'm calling them all out. And I'm saying most Christian comedians are trying to refine their act for a church. Now, how many of you know the worst place in the world to do comedy is a church? Seriously, it's the whole environment is inappropriate for comedy routine. You have to be an extraordinary comedian. A ballroom like this we can get away with. But so I want to tell these guys to stop playing it safe, because there's always some member of the Sanhedrin who's listening to your jokes and telling you, oh, well, that was a little bit towards the edge there. Maybe you can clean it up a little bit. I know that because every now and then I make the mistake of reading my Facebook, comments. It's like, something disastrous happens. Antifa blows up my limousine. Lance, we have to have love. up their mailbox. That's what I want to do. See, I have a little camera. Hey, how loving was that response there? When I blow up your mailbox. All right, so anyway, that's just my update. It's all my update. Now for my message. I have a few thoughts I wanted to share with you. Anyway, so Jimmy Fallon is covering this thing, and so I told so Jim Bakker, but I think we had I'm gonna be honest with you, I think we have 17,000 maybe people that are joining us in our Cyrus Trump crusade with our Cyrus Trump prayer coins. So Jim has the chutzpah to want me to go back on again and do this again. So I'm going back, and right now I'm minting a Jimmy Fallon Donald Trump coin. Pray for the comedians. Pray for the comedians, America. There's a lot riding on this. Forget the politicians, pray for the comedians. Whoop! Too many steps here for a Reformation. Look at that. We just shortened that whole Reformation down by one whole phase. All right, so I want you to go to the Bible real quick. If you haven't seen this before, you got to see it now. You may never get a chance to get this live, and I want to give it to you right now, but it's in Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. You can always remember Ezra 1:1. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, that it might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, and he made a proclamation. Now you guys have probably seen this before, but if you haven't, I want to stir up your mind by remembrance that Jeremiah was a prophet who prophesied that there was going to be a Cyrus who comes along. Remember that? Jeremiah prophesies Cyrus. Cyrus is an outsider, a political ruler who is an outsider, not a Jew. So you got this outside political force that comes in as a result of a prophet who prophesies. There's going to be this mysterious 70-year span that's going to connect the prophetic word with God's move with an outside ruler. What's going to link these two together is the fact that this Cyrus is going to make a decree. The decree is going to involve Israel. It's going to involve Jerusalem. But we have something here which is so interesting. And it's the indispensable piece between Cyrus and Jeremiah. And you know what that is? I'm going to show it to you right now. So I know you're just wanting to know. And it's Daniel chapter 9. What you see here is Daniel chapter 9. We got Daniel, the intercessor. So how many of you are drawn to MorningStar, this ministry, because you recognize the prophetic voices in it? How many of you know that the only kind of intercession that really is a prevailing, powerful type of sustained intercession is prophetic intercession? Because almost all other forms of intercession just really get boring after a while. That's the problem. I'm serious. I asked Mike Pickle, I said, so how did you evolve into this 24/7 thing? He said, well, we kind of got bored with prayer without the music. He said, honestly, you try praying for an hour. Try praying for 2 hours. You run out of things in 3. How about 24 hours? It's like you've done all the armor, all the tribes of Israel, everybody in political office, all your family members is not saved, and that was like the second hour. He said, but when we weave it in and out with the worship, you can go, he said, we found out there's a rhythm. It's the worship and the prophetic, and then you can pray, and then the worship. So what you got here is Daniel. What chapter did I say that was? 9:3. So Daniel sets his face because he sees, Daniel 9:3, he sees that the prophetic is here, but that, tell you what, let's use a blue pen. Intercession, prophet, political, looks like rice-a-roni, because I don't really write well. Prophet, intercessor, political. See, here's the problem with the church. The church doesn't understand God's not answering his prayers in the form of a revival and awakening. He's answering the church's anxiety in the form of raising up secular rulers who God is using to undo the works of hell. This is an important update. The average religious person their mind explodes at the thought that I'm praying for God, I'm praying whether they pray for revival. You're praying for revival or awakening. God, you got Nazi Germany like moving on the march. God's not giving you a Smith Wigglesworth miracle service at, in downtown London. He's sending church help. Thank you for your overwhelming confirmation. I'm serious. Derek Prince is praying in the campaign in North Africa. He's praying for God to give them victory, and God stops him. He says, stop praying for victory. I can't just arbitrarily give you victory. Here's what he felt the Lord said. Pray that I give you leaders such as consistent with my glory to give you victory. In other words, I can't just arbitrarily give you something. I actually have to have the vessel that corresponds with my will so that I can work my will on earth. So anyway, what I'm saying is, the prophets prophesied. We had lots of prophets prophesying, from Bob Jones and all other prophets about America, about stadiums, about transfer of wealth, about revival, about the harvest. And all of a sudden, we're just watching this cliff. We're watching this Hillary, carnival going over a cliff here, and we're watching this thing. And look how evil and this conglomerate is. When the whole thing about Donald Trump, it fascinates me, is how, thank God for the whole Russia problem. Because I never would have known the cast of characters and how deep the corruption is. I never would have gotten education in Civics 101 on the spiritual corruption that's in my own nation. I would have assumed it was all, it's okay, just pray for our leader, Supreme Court person, back to revival over here. Now we're getting our head straight. We're realizing that we are actually stewarding the whole ship. This is the problem with a religious spirit. See, suppose we're on the Titanic right now. We have a great move of God here. We're in the ballroom has been sequestered by the Christians, and there's a move of God there in the ballroom. But you know what? The move of God in the ballroom is not the only move that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the movement of that iceberg hitting the front of the ship. So what you got is this outsider comes along who is an answer to prayer, and meanwhile you got Christians don't even recognize the hand of God moving with someone like Trump or with Cyrus in response to the intercession of God's people in pulling on the prophetic unction of what God said He wants to do for America. And as if the sequence isn't so crystal clear, it's in the 70th year of Israel's recognition by the United Nations that Donald Trump comes to office, and his decree literally is about Israel being able to recognize Jerusalem as its capital. Bam, 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 bam. It's all right there. And it's obvious when you see it. With a whiteboard. Well, if this is true, Jeremiah prophesies, Daniel goes to intercession, the intercession of Daniel decisively in 9:3, it gets archangels involved, boom, goes to work. Suddenly what you have in this weird anomaly of Donald Trump coming up is 20 million mystery people suddenly emerged out of the woodwork. Right. Yeah. George Barna said the reason why all the pollsters were screwed up is because there's a category that eludes the traditional Catholic, Protestant, evangelical, even born-again or nominal Christian category. There is a group of 20 million that didn't fall nicely into those other little cubby holes. Right. And they're called SageCon. Spiritually active, governmentally engaged conservatives.